how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Disney. Disney is losing the hostile takeover war. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Disney is involved in a battle with one of its big investors to try to maintain control of it and to not be held accountable for the damage that the management has been doing to the company. The company decided a few years back it wasn't enough to make money. Disney needed to be used for political purposes to push political agendas. This means diversity, equity, and inclusion. This means literally decentering whiteness, trying to get rid of white supremacy. Does that have anything to do with Disney? No, of course it doesn't. But they wanted to get rid of what worked for them for decades and get rid essentially of traditional families. I can't even believe I'm saying it myself, but yes, Disney was hijacked. They ruined the Marvel franchise. What do I mean ruined? I mean the most recent Marvel movie that was supposed to be part of the cinematic universe did only $205 million worldwide. That is absolutely terrible. They spent more than $300 million making and promoting that movie. So it's a huge financial loss, but it's also a major disappointment to anyone who's still used to care about the Marvel brand. Most recently, they've just announced they're going to give some feminist control of the Star Wars franchise. She's making the next Star Wars movie. Now, it's fine to be a feminist, but it should not show up in your work. You should be making movies that people want to see that are on brand with the franchise that you spent $4 billion on. Everything for them is about pushing a political agenda. However, not all the investors think it's a good idea. Disney stock is down more than 50% over the last couple of years. Recently, it's down about $70 billion worth of value. Disney could be a $500 billion company if they focused on what customers actually wanted, not their political agenda. So investor and self-made billionaire Nelson Peltz has said, okay, Disney, you need to change things. You need to put me on your board of directors or one of my guys on your board of directors so we can look at what you're doing, watch your decision making, and get you focused on shareholders again. Of course, Bob Iger does not like this, but Disney is in a lot of trouble. It just came out in the Hollywood Reporter 2023 box office. Disney gives up global market share crown to Universal after years of domination. Yeah, Disney, who spent more than $50 billion buying the Fox studio, combining it with Marvel, Lucasfilm, Disney's films, Pixar, and Fox's films, could not generate more money at the box office than one studio, Universal. Universal had been beating Disney in animation. Now it's beating Disney and all of Disney's studios at the box office. Universal's releases generated an estimated $4.91 billion in movie ticket sales. Disney did $4.82 billion, and they lost money on those movies at Disney. Universal doesn't make money on all of its movies either, but it should not be able to outgross all of Disney's film studios. It's absolutely ridiculous. Disney has had a bigger box office than any other film studio since 2016. Now they've blown it. No wonder the investors are starting to say, hey, wait a minute here. What is going on over at Disney? Here's what's going on. Also from the Hollywood Reporter. In activist battle, Disney reveals its own reinforcements ahead of shareholder meeting. What did Disney do? Disney went out and made some kind of a side deal, I don't know what the details are, with a separate investor called Value Act, who is going to back up Disney to support what Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, and the existing board of directors wants to do. This is to fight back against this investor, Nelson Peltz, and Ike Perlmutter, former CEO of Marvel and owner of Marvel, who want change at Disney. But Bob Iger and Disney's current board of directors have done more than just try to keep Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter away from the company. They actually went and hired a new chief financial officer, Hugh Johnston, who probably is a very capable guy, came from Pepsi as CFO, to be their new chief financial officer, because Hugh Johnston has experience in fighting off this exact investor, Nelson Peltz. All Nelson Peltz is trying to do is to hold Disney accountable for the decisions that it's making, because it's obvious something is very wrong at the company. From Bloomberg, Disney's new chief financial officer has experience with Nelson Peltz, not media. When Nelson Peltz tried to get on Disney's board of directors about a year ago, they said, well, he doesn't have any experience with media. Why would we want Nelson Peltz on the company? Nelson Peltz has a very serious career in activist investing, in improving companies, and just to get an idea, Nelson Peltz, this is from his Wikipedia, was said by the National Association of Corporate Directors in 2010, 2011, and 2012 to be among the most influential people in global corporate governance. So he knows what he's talking about. But Disney was making an argument that Nelson Peltz shouldn't be anywhere near Disney's board of directors because he didn't understand media and the entertainment industry. But in the meantime, Disney will hire this guy, Hugh Johnston, to be their chief financial officer, even though he doesn't know about the media business. The truth of it is, a CFO can pretty much learn what's going on with a company. They don't really need to know all the details of a media business, but it certainly doesn't hurt. And it doesn't make sense that if an investor who owns more than $1 billion worth of stock with experience on multiple boards of directors can't be on the board because he doesn't have media experience, it doesn't make sense you would hire a CFO without media experience who is involved in all the finances of the company and a lot of the strategic things they're going to do. You would want a chief financial officer that understands those things with respect to media. From Red State, Disney's resistance to Nelson Peltz's influence is concerning. And they make a good point. It doesn't really make sense. What is your problem with this guy? He's been on multiple other boards of directors before. He's improved other companies. And really, being on the board of directors doesn't mean you get to be the CEO. It means you get to have a say. But things seem to be so messed up over at Disney, where they really aren't making decisions based on what's right for the business, that they seem terrified of Nelson Peltz. And it's not just the Disney people. We're going to get into this other article from Puck.News where they are absolutely hysterical over Nelson Peltz because they realize it looks like Nelson Peltz is going to get his way and is going to win. And that means that Disney is going to have to suffer some severe changes from their focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion back to what's right for the brands and back to what's right for shareholders. In Puck.News. Now, this is done a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and I understand tongue-in-cheek. Matthew Belloni has a great website at Puck.News. He does this villain of the year thing since he's had his website, and it's cute to call Nelson Peltz a villain. There's really nothing wrong with that. But what there is wrong with this is the author goes on to then call Nelson Peltz a cockroach. He goes on to attack his daughter, who is an actress but has nothing to do with their investments. He mocks his daughter. There are some denigrating statements about Nelson Peltz's age at him being 80 plus years old, which he's not too old to work. He's an effective guy. He's got a great reputation. And he does the same thing with Ike Perlmutter, former CEO of Marvel, who was kind enough to make a deal with Disney to acquire Marvel. I was really shocked to see the lack of respect for these guys just as human beings. He also calls Nelson Peltz an a-hole for no reason. I don't even see the justification of it. We have to get into the article. Nelson Peltz, Ike Perlmutter, and Jay Rizzullo. Jay Rizzullo was a former chief financial officer for Disney and was with the company for many years, say they want to help Bob Iger restore the company to its 2015 glory. But doesn't everyone in Hollywood? And wouldn't you trust literally anyone instead of them? No, I wouldn't trust anyone except for those three guys, because those three guys are only interested in two things. One, improve the value of Disney stock. Two, get the brands where they need to be again, so that even if you're progressive or you're conservative or just a normal person, you could enjoy the Disney product. That's what Disney has gone away from and what's wrong at Disney. What was Bob Iger's reaction when he heard his old chief financial officer, Jay Rizzullo, was joining up with Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter? Apparently, Bob Iger was shocked and had an attitude of, can you believe this? Why would he do such a thing? Well, because Bob Iger disrespected and blew off Jay Rizzullo and then went on to ruin all of Disney's brands for no good business reason, only for political reasons. Jay Rizzullo was under consideration to be the next CEO of Disney. He didn't get the opportunity. Bob Iger blew him off. Okay, so like other people, Jay Rizzullo left the company. So did Tom Staggs. Plenty of people left the company because Bob Iger wouldn't give them a shot at CEO or just obviously didn't value or appreciate them. Now, the author points out and tries to explain that all of Hollywood is in secular decline. When they say secular decline, they mean nobody likes movies anymore. Nobody likes to buy merchandise anymore. No one's really interested in streaming, and you can't make any money with cable channels. Well, actually, none of that is true. If you make things that people want, you could be like their competitor, Universal. You can figure out how to have the biggest box office of the year, but you'd actually have to be focused on trying to make money, not pushing your progressive agenda. I go on a lot about this issue with the progressive agenda because of two main reasons. One, it's absolutely shocking that these people don't care about money anymore. They just care about pushing their political ideas. And two, because it's a very big part of what's wrong with the company and something they could just fix. They could just address it. Yes, Netflix is the success in the entertainment industry right now that many media companies are trying to duplicate. But Netflix is in no secular decline. They're making money. They're successful. Why aren't these companies doing that? Well, because Netflix has scale. It has a lot of customers. So because it has a lot of customers, because they're focused on servicing those customers, they're able to consistently make money. They've been mixed up before with pushing agendas and having very unusual content that customers don't like, and they've lost subscribers over it, but they are generally focused on running their business. And that's worked out very well for them. What companies like Disney need to do, and other companies that compete with them, is come up with what works for them and focus on that. If you look at this point of the article, what does Nelson Peltz, the investor, want? That's when he starts to go into attacking Nelson Peltz's daughter. We're now more than a year into Peltz's on and off public war with Disney, and it's still unclear what he actually wants. And he's trying to say that Nelson Peltz wants to be made relevant, as if Nelson Peltz hasn't already had a career, implying that he's only relevant because of a starring role in Peltz Beckham versus the Wedding Planners, a new Warner Brothers Discovery Max documentary about the litigation involved with Nelson Peltz's daughter, who married Brooklyn Beckham in 2022. One of the things Nelson Peltz has been criticizing Bob Iger about is how Disney is so sloppy with its expenses. It has a massive, massive cost problem compared to its competitors. Way too many expenses. Disney did lay people off because Nelson Peltz pushed him to do it. The author here on Puck.News goes on to attack Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter as two bored 80-something Palm Beach billionaires. He goes on to then attack Nelson Peltz's son, Matthew, saying that maybe he's just doing this with Disney to help out his son to get a larger profile and get more experience. He even referred to Peltz as a profiteer, someone who's making profits they don't deserve to be making, exorbitant profits, by pursuing Disney. It's really an outrageous and unprofessional attack. But the good side of this is where things are at right now. Nelson Peltz has made it clear he wants at least 2 seats on the board of directors, one to be for him and one to be for Jay Rizzullo, former chief financial officer of Disney. If they get those 2 seats on the board of directors, they will be able to influence and expose a lot of things going on at Disney. It would be very unlikely for us to see anything damaging to the company that would come out of them being on the board. They would probably uncover all kinds of problems. Those things would stay secret, but there would be changes made to rectify those mistakes and those problems and things that might be being covered up over at Disney. There is no chance, though, that Matt Belloni would be so hysterical, so angry, so negative as to go after Nelson Peltz, Ike Perlmutter, and Peltz's 2 children, unless he knew from his conversations with people around Iger that Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, is going to give in to Peltz. He is going to give Peltz at least 1 seat on the board of directors, and the result of that is going to be a lot of changes over at Disney. Here's what the author says. Peltz already threatened a proxy fight once with Disney, only to back away the day after Iger restructured the company and announced plans to slash billions in costs. Threatening a second time and recruiting Jay Rizzullo, only to back away, would definitely call his motives into question. More likely, we will see some kind of settlement where Peltz gets 1 board seat or other board members increase their ownership stake in the company as Peltz has requested, something like that. Peltz is not interested in other board members buying Disney stock. He could care less. He wants to have influence. And with all the negativity and the hysterical name-calling, it's clear the author is well aware that Peltz is going to get his way. He is not happy about it. I've never seen such negativity, name-calling, bring people's children into an argument, particularly his daughter, who is not even involved in his business. And Disney will be forced to be held accountable and to change. This is likely to come together in the next month or two. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.